what your choices have been, and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Whole Soul Mastery and Whole Soul School and Foundation's joint podcast today, where we're talking again with Dr. Terry Cole Whittaker. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, intuitive, and messenger of the powerful journeys we all engage to integrate and to live our whole soul mastery, our truest talents, and the joy of true self-expression. And I want to welcome you, Dr. Terry, to this podcast today. We're going to journey into some fun places.
Oh, yes. I'm so enthused because I love being with you, Maria. And I loved your interview with Elizabeth Alanis. And yes, because it was so beautiful in her shaman work, and having worked with her, oh my goodness, since she first got my book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And I feel she's a bird that is flying now on her own, and I feel our paths are different in a sense, very much in certain ways, but we're united where we can all unite at the level of the mother, the nourisher, the caretaker, the creative being, the enthusiastic, the joyful, the playful, all of that. And
all of it.
Yes, and letting her fly on it, because there's certainly, and that's great because you always want them. You can feel, like I said, that, and it's good because she's really now established in the way I saw her in the beginning.
It's so good. It has to be so beautiful. I can't even imagine, Dr. Terry, how many people you've launched into flight over the years, over the decades. Right?
Yes, in so many ways, because the book also, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, which is such a classic, because I was then just starting to really realize my patterns of having abusive men in my life. And also just certain patterns, and I was already teaching, and I was studying metaphysics, and I was already a minister and doing counseling and certain things like this. But so, in fact, I have to tell you one time, this is before I had stopped drinking alcohol, and I was counseling this man on alcoholism, and I had a hangover. I'm telling you, it's a kick. But I know that's how it all works. It's really a kick.
It is. I mean, it's when the student is ready, the teacher appears, or the teacher appears when the student is ready. But it works both ways across the desk. Like sometimes we need to learn from our clients, right?
Well, we do. Well, because they're showing up as is also reflecting in a sense where we are, or something's there for us because they're in our world. And there's either we know that that's a mentor, as someone who is experienced and is really an expert at some level. You're not trying to say it, but you know this, and you're good at what you've done. And then a counselor may counsel you on many things. They have no idea what you've done, but yet they're working with certain basic principles and things. And then you get, while you're saying, when you work with people, one thing Elizabeth always is, she contacted me back many years, and this was after I had left the ministry in San Diego and everything. And whenever it was that she was also studying to be, or was a psychologist, she had gotten that far in her work and her studies, and she's really good with her study abilities. She has a really great ability to do that. So anyway. But she then started working with me, and for years, we talk at least once a month. And then it moved, because then it moved from teaching and all of this because I could see her, but to keep convincing her of who she really is. And I could see it. And then being that mentor, which is a career mentor, is that you have been there and know that, and you also have that perception of where they are, because we all go through the basic same steps. That's why spiritual knowledge and is a science in a way, because we all tend to go through certain steps. So something like, say, what I wrote in What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, then what was going on and what was happening with me, and also the alcohol that was in it, or, you know, not that it was a big, horrible thing, but it was because of what came out, the nastiness. Everybody has different things, but it was also a medicine. And the only way I got over it was to stop feeling guilty, to realize, hey, I must need this. But I said, please, God, take this away, the taste away. And it was gone. Now that's what I want to get with today, as spiritual magic. That's spiritual magic. And what happens is all of us have that ability, because this is what's come to me. Okay. Because I've been working on, you might call me a rootist. I back engineer to an original state as close as I can get, because everything now is so complicated, and yet it isn't. It's also following a pattern, because this is a virtual reality, digital reality, basically, and it all follows patterns. That's a left brain activity, which operates in the world of intelligence. And you might call that aspect at a very higher level would be the spiritual, might call it male, but spiritual intelligence, you see, and female would be soul intelligence and that sort of thing. But they're also, like all gods come together as two, a female and a male. And you have like Jesus and Mary, and you also have his mother, you see. All these gods have a mother. Now, what is mother? So I've been praying, been looking and and what I notice in the spiritual magic, when I ask for something that is sincere within me, it is there, and oftentimes it's there after. It was there even before I asked, but I never noticed, you see. But it was there, and because I was sincere, I was ready for that. I was willing to let go of a lot of other things. A lot of work I did studying the life of Jesus, who's basically Yeshua, and was an Essene, and lived in India many years studying exactly what I studied, and the realizations that he came to liberate the people from the evilness of the infection of the Nephilim that had invaded and destroyed Babylon and every great civilization and such, and they had headquarters and working in these areas. And he came back because the people were suffering so much, to bring them the truth that God was within them, but also as the mother. Mary was his partner. They were partners. This is how it worked. And in anything, whoever you and I are partners, you see, collaborators, because we have the same heart and purpose and mission, and always concerned about helping others, because that's our nature as a nurturer. That's called mothering, and it could be a man or a woman, however. But So as I've been researching and I'm studying ancient, as much as I could find, knowledge and text from the Vedas, and also as I studied from the Essenes, and also the Gnostics, and the Gaia of the Nag Hammadi, which is an incredible book, and all these kind of things. But studying also that Yeshua, and it could have been in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it could have been in some other things. His main problem is his disciples could never do what he was able to do. And that was through the healings of basically changing their diet, becoming vegetarian, to stop the most evil thing there is, the killing, the torture, slaughter of animals, humans, mammals, anything that has life. Trees, oh my God, anything like that. What does this? This is not natural. This is not divine in a sense like that, because it's not, in a sense, good for all, but it's going on. But here's the key. It's going on basically in the mind. This is because of, I've got to explain. Okay, so I've been studying certain books for a long time, and ancient books, wonderful, and teaching from it. But really, basically, it's helped me in every way. Oh my gosh. And so metaphysics, you see, and New Thought and all that, and a lot of other things are tasteless, really. They're kind of boring because it's all in the mind. And what it is where the joy is in the feelings, is in the heart. It's in the soul. It's in the beingness of who we are, and our consciousness and a realization of our unity and also individuality. It's not all the same. This is not, because in a way we might say it's all, but it also isn't. And this is what people don't get. The mind only operates on true and false, like and dislike. That's all. It can't put like and dislike as the same, but they are. And once that's called transcendental, when you can rise above the appearance of the duality, okay, because this keeps this energy going of the machine of like and dislike. It's cause and effect. That's all, cause and effect. And so anyway, I was studying. I said, something's wrong with this study of this teaching. I can't completely surrender to it. I can't, because something's wrong. And when you look at in the world, please, people, something's wrong with the virtual reality, what you're perceiving. It's all perception. But the perception of what we are able to do because of our nature as a God particle, God goddess particle, whatever you want to call it. This is not transgender. This is what the perversion does. They take truth and pervert it. And what that's called is called hell. And so hell is where you do what you will. But what happens is the immortality that people seek, they already have. It's called reincarnation. And that comes from cause and effect. And the only way, the major way to stop this is to stop the torture, the killing. Our pets, all the cat food and dog food we buy, and all those little people are slaughtered, where they have feelings. And we, because it's a cause and effect reality, we will have to experience and everything we've ever done to anyone else, because you have to come back to balance. You have to know what you're doing. Now, that is the way the mother punishes, because she never punishes. Because the only way you actually really know something is when you experience it. And I only teach what I know and experience. I can learn it around and everything, but or if I'm doing something I don't really know about or haven't experienced, I'll let I'll say I don't know about that, but I'm very inquisitive, so I really have. You have to be inquisitive. You have to look. Okay. So what I noticed then in all this, mother, what did I start to notice? This thing I was teaching, what's really absent is everything about intuition, everything about knowing from within, everything about our what would you say, the feminine qualities of being a multitasker, because of function. This is people don't get. They get all caught up in the body and that they dressing it up, making it look like this and to get what it does. Wait a minute. If you've got to back engineer yourself and you want to have a good life, you better know what you're doing, because this is big time. And this is a way, because it's happening to you. And that there's knowledge, but it's like mine is, because I get my knowledge from me, and then whatever I'll share with people. And most people don't want it, because when it comes to changing the food and no longer eating animals, they're gone. And then if they want to do, they're gone. They don't want to do it. No, I can't do, because they're addicted to blood. That's why they've got to read. I would suggest The Land of Meat and Honey by, I would call my rabbi, Shmuel Asher, because we're all Hebrew. And so the Hebrews are the remnants of the Vedic culture. Come on, because they have the same systems and stuff like that. But most people don't go that far. So in the thing I was searching, the thing that was missing were the things that I knew about healing, spiritual healing, know the truth. As a practitioner, people were healed because that I was not believing their hypnotic trance. People are always trying to convince everybody of their problems. And when you have agreement, you have reality. So they're always talking about how bad it is and getting everybody to agree. And if you don't agree, they don't want to be around you because you're not agreeing with their stuff. Don't be around them. Because, you see, what we sell, so it's what we do to try and get love, or trying to get love. Now, here's the thing about the mothering. So in this thing, I'm saying, God, please. And what I've noticed is, how is it that I can ask for something? It'll give me the answer immediately. Why? You know why? The mother is ubiquitous, all pervasive. That's all there is. That she's everywhere. She is this. She is that. She in herself takes on the bodies of the gods of all and everything. She's with us. We live in her. And when I ask, she tells me immediately. She loves us. You see, but what's happening, we're torturing ourselves because we don't want to acknowledge the mother. But look at the magic, Earth Mother. Talk about spiritual magic. Plant a seed in the soil. Like what's happening is we're so flooded with ignorance in our reality that's making all of this stuff stupid in every way, and so many have no idea. And now is this time you have the opportunity because it's open and it's already been done. But people don't want to seem to give up their suffering, their pain, their false ego, and especially the male ego is terrified of the woman and has been programmed for that. Because 800,000 years ago, around that, because I started studying comets. Okay, there's an eclipse coming. What does that mean? Bad, bad, bad. Why? Because they do that. Come on, you people. The mother doesn't do this. See, what I got is she's the feeling. She's the oxygen. She's the Holy Spirit. But you can't say, oh, well, she's just a woman in a body. No, she can make any body she wants. She is all that is. And she's with you. She's surrounding you. She's in and through everything, meaning that nourishing, loving, and people, they want to associate their mother and their father in this world, and they were mean and they were evil, and you got all these evil, wicked mothers and all. They're not mothers. They call that. But let's say mothering or nurturing. Like these little seeds I planted, I got to spray them with really like the little spray lightly so these little cat things, they sprout because I'm tender. I didn't used to be that. Pour water out, dig up the hole, never. All the green plants would die all the time because I never read the directions, and then I said, well, I guess I can't grow anything. Well, that's ridiculous. You got to read the directions. And we have directions, and they're everywhere, but people aren't even looking. And this is the thing with the spiritual magic. Every baby girl is the goddess of fortune. And every baby boy who just adores and loves her is her partner, her friend. Little boys are here to help the mothers and the children and to hurt the lamb. They were here to, if you want to be in this world and you want to actually do the thing with the bodies and the stuff that a thing, you're going to have to know who you are. And here's the key. The number one basic illusion is that you are this physical body that's going to die. You're not going to, but you have to know how to do the passage. If you don't, you're going to go the light in the tunnel because they told me. And I have seen some of these writers that have been written for Vedic teachings are the evil ones because they all get to the top of everything because they're like worms. Not worms. I don't want to insult the worm. I'm telling you, worms are good. Ticks aren't. Fleas aren't. Mosquitoes aren't. No, they're bloodsuckers. you see. And they evil works. It's because it gives innocent, naive people something they think they want, and then everything, we're all tricked, you see, and all that sort of thing. So, but who knows is always the mother, because you, right in your heart, you are the connection. And when I started studying comments, after comments come, they throw it. Somebody's throwing rocks at us, whatever, blah 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 blah. Okay, and these can have bugs in them. They can have any nasty thing they want because it's packed in there. And you throw it here, and there's always things like what they do with giving people shots about, and they call that, but no, it's not. These things don't happen naturally. Sickness is not natural at all. And old age is not, none of these things. And all these, so what happens is it's so strong to consent and to agree that you don't know. And what I found, like with divine magic, is that, I mean, every house I ever went to or found, I know when I saw it, I didn't really thinking about what it was going to look at or how or whatever, but you somehow inside you know. Just like they say, if you ever want to make friends with someone, be really nice to their mother. You see? Get to know them. Because why is that? Why is it they all have a mother? But they say, oh, the guy was born out of the guy's ear and it came out of his toe and it showed up. Every kind of lie to try and change the obvious that it's, yeah, you can get another womb stuck in your body and they can plant you in a hole that looks like something else. And why? What a stupid thing. Because you're going to get another body anyway. And it can be man, woman, reptile, snake. Good God, they killed a 27-foot boa constrictor python or whatever in Florida. Yeah. No. Thank you.
Well, but you gave us so much in that beginning of this conversation today. It's so rich with so many of the layers of the places where you've journeyed and you've sought and you've learned and you've grown, and you bring it back. You know, all the places you've traveled, you bring that richness to us. What a gift it is that we get to receive so much of what you've spent a lifetime collecting and gathering and researching and learning. And I have to think about where I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I think it was profound that you started at the root and talking about the spiritual intelligence and the soul intelligence, and how Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and I think you were even saying the mother, all embodied that together.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And that's the wholeness. But it is, you know, I'll use my language. It's the sacred feminine that sees in wholeness vision. That's how I feel it. And it's the linear mind that slices things into categories and separates. And that's probably that
you know what I would
mind.
do? Yeah. The problem with the sacred feminine is it's being misused now in every kind of possible way. So it's basically, it isn't the feminine, because that could be a body, it could be an appearance, it could be a costume, it could be a activity. I want to look at, what I'm looking at is the presence of this that we are within, is within us. It is everything, is everywhere present, right where you are, and it is ready for you, and is there when you ask. But here's the key. You have to have your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, let's say if you want to do that, you have to have no objections, and you have to have good karma, which means you have good deeds, which means you operate from the level of pure goodness as much as possible, because that's God consciousness. But this mother presence isn't a woman, in a sense. It isn't that. Men have it, but here, what happens with the double X of the female chromosome, the girl, the body, a woman body, and then the YX, how mother does when she wanted to does everything she wants. When wanted to do that, she made them equal, and yet dependent on each other because they're partners to create, to love, to create, just, and she disappeared one part of the X because he was to take care of her. And what happened, the way they've done everything is they've made it that the woman is the helpmate of the man and his stuff, but she herself can be raped, abused, the MF word, and the F word that is so much in people's language, the most of even a mother, a little girl, a little boy. What is going on, and is becoming so normal, and for people to agree, this world will continue to remain, not this world, the world you're in, because it's the world you are projecting, until you shift to your heart and then let your intelligence with knowledge, you see, guide you and direct you and help you. And the men then, males are your helpmate and lovers of God, and then they receive and learn. I suggest get the Pyramid Code written by Carmen Bolter, and it's showing how the Egyptians before Akhenaten showed up, and he was the first hybrid. He was he had the skull. Yeah, he had the long skull, and he eliminated the female, the woman. That quality, and that is the quality that is missing in every. Not that because there's women showing up in all over the place that are vicious and nasty and cruel and wonderful and loving and things. So it is the heart of it that is we could call it another word. It's like but what in this world, mother love is the strongest we know of any animal, of any creature, of any human, and it could also be the worst. But that's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about who we are, and she never left us. Mom, or however you want to call it, is right here. And what I'm telling you is that you make contact, get a feeling, ask for it, and it comes. I said, this is what happened to me. Another book came to me that had the mother, and it had the feminine, and not the feminine, the woman, the being, the all, who then brought everything else under. This is the missing link of everything. Wow. And 800,000 years ago, the evil ones decided what they had to get rid of in order to take care of get rid of humanity was the woman. And then the other one is a perpetual slave to his or her senses and what they're told is a robot and their sex doll and their computer system. Now, you could escape all that by knowing it's where it is, do the work, but then you get the contacts and you start to notice divine magic is everywhere. Take that seed and it grows into a beautiful plant with flowers and fragrance and fruit and things that falls off the trees into your hands from a seed. That means an idea and thought in your mind. If you build it and you create it and you image it, I told people years ago, don't go to horror movies and pay for it. That'll be your life, and there it is. And when you look at somebody's body, that is the history of their food, and they have the history of what they've done in their life. That's their book right there. That's it, right there. I know. This is exciting. I know.
It is so exciting, and I find myself, I'm listening and drinking in everything you're saying. I hope our listeners are really feeling the energy, the frequency, the vibration of what you're sharing, because it is a level beyond, like, whether you say the divine feminine, the sacred feminine.
Or the divine masculine, sacred. No, yes, those are within. It's not a blob, because it's not that. That's the perversion is, remember the Borg. You can't get out. Well, you can't get out of the mother. Why would you? Because that's all it is, and it's beautiful. Oh my God! When you look at our YouTube videos that my sweet one Michael Bolger has filmed all of it and so carefully works on, and it's free for everybody. You go to terrycolewhitaker.com or click on YouTube, and it's in nature. Yes. And look at how it's like you could have the flashing lights, and you could be at the carnival, and you could say, "Where's the love? Where's the sweetness? Where's the naturalness? Where's the joy? Where's the creative?" And you, this trust, and oh my gosh, you if you're ready, it's there. You ask for it, it will be there. But you have to make yourself ready.
And can I ask you a question? Because I'm learning from you today. Really, I'm taking this in deeply, because my language needs an upgrade, right? Because that's what happens when you say form follows function, words follow vibration. And so I really want to pay attention to the vibration you're sharing. The mother, and I don't ask this from a mental perspective, but I want to feel what you're feeling. When you're talking about the mother, is it the aspect of God? Is that mother the aspect of God?
No, not even like, because in Vedic culture, I like that, because it's fun. Krishna, when he's a little boy, and Radharani and their sports and all they do, these are forms that she creates for us to enjoy, because how it really is so far, in a sense, beyond what we're able to really experience in these layers of ignorance and sense. That's why you have to go where you're pure is within, and then you have to purify your mind, because that's what's become perverted. Where you look at the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, that's this world, and a suffixes, prefixes, and that sort of thing, and it's spell casting, because the thing is all a hypnotic trance, because they can't do this.
Right.
We're doing it. We're conjuring it for them. Don't do it.
Right. Which is why we must be much more conscious that we are the creators of the world. What we're thinking about and feeling about, we're bringing about.
Yes, and it's a feeling. It's a presence that you don't have to escape from, because she's there now. Mama, or however you want to call it, the loved one, or my nurturing, or my that's why people go for teddy bears and things like this. They want to cuddle something, or she's hugging you, she's loving you, and then she can do that through the people around you and things like this. It's like, this is wonderful. This is what I came for, and you did too, Marie.
I did too. That's why we hang out together, Terry. We give this to each other because we know it in ourselves and each other.
Yes.
It's so
I love
beautiful.
seeing your picture. I love seeing your pictures on the blog. You're so beautiful. It's so amazing.
I know it is. My partner took that, and my daughter is a photographer. All my kids are in film and photography, and I've been talking with her, and I asked her. I said, this summer, let's go out together in nature somewhere. And take because that's a winter picture that I have, and I want a summer picture where everything's in bloom, right?
Yes.
So
you know what Michael used a lot in some of his best stuff are those little GoPros, camera things.
Yeah,
amazing things you can get and to do those things, because then you get to be in nature. I was for years when I did my television ministry, I'm in front of lights. I remember one time Gavin McLeod had invited me to go to some big thing in Hollywood. You walk in, there's flashing lights on you and everything. I thought, this is not for me.
Right? That's what
because I always thought it was. And then you go, this is not my world.
Yeah, right?
Get me those shoes off. Get me by the creek. Let me lean down and drink. When I was yes. That's where there is, and they pack everybody in these cities and take away this because you're going to get more this and that. To back engineer yourself it's going to take a lot of work, but you have an eternity because you do not die. You are life itself, and where you are now is what you earned in the past. And in one moment, anybody could be relieved when you finally have that time. I mean. Ask, yes, I can't do it for you, but it's like she, the presence, he, however he, she, it's a presence. And it's solid. It's everywhere, and we're in it, and you don't leave it because it's who you are, always. And she will answer right now. Oh my God! I remember when I was in India. I had this terrible rheumatoid arthritis. Arms burning. I said, I didn't know. So I went to the computer and I wrote in cause and natural cure. First I said to God, what do I do? God said, go to the computer. So I realized it's the presence of the. It's not. You don't have to name it God. You don't have to name it this. You don't have to, because all of that, they become the gods, and they got the army, and they got the this, and my God, you're never going to go anywhere there, because you can worship whatever form you want of the mother, of the love, of the nurturer, of our, because we're not created. The bodies are created, but not us. We've always been and always be, because we are part of the whoa. It's a feeling. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but yeah, and it makes everything true, because all the rest is a program, and you can see how bad it works, because none of it is working. It's very difficult for most of us to be able to walk out anywhere and fruit falls off a tree and into our hands. No problem with that. The creek is clean, and the river and the lake, the swimming, worshiping God, doing your service, doing goodness. So yeah, that's natural. All this other, people want that. They're fascinated with it. They look at it. They pay for it. They got it. And baby, they got it. Because they have spiritual magic, and you could stop at any time. You could ask, you could grow, you could learn, and the presence is, you're always in the presence. She knows everything. It, him, he, hoo-ha, who knows all about it, whatever you want to call it. But what is nurturing? And that is feeding you, just like oxygen is the Holy Spirit. She's feeding you with oxygen. When she stops it, you're gone in this body. But you're not dead, because who you are doesn't need that oxygen, because you're part of her. Everything, yes.
Wow, that's powerful. So much. So I was going to say, you can feel that presence. I always talk about conscious breathing. When we are breathing and we are in union with, with that.
And be steaming. Do steaming so you don't get the pneumonia and stuff, and you get filling your lungs with oxygen. Everything in your body takes oxygen, or you get tired. That's why you sleep. We don't need to sleep. The senses are tired. You see? Yes. And then we stop the breathing and see, where do they hit the air, the water? Water's next. And then what you get is, that's nitrogen and oxygen, but it's not, we call it that to give it a label, but it's glorious. It's fabulous. And fire. Oh my. Yes. Fire. That's Shakti. See, energy. And what people don't like, when I wanted to say, so I went on to the thing, I got the cause and cure for that. It was leaky gut, blah, 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 changed my diet, blah, blah. It was gone, never ever to return again. And that was,
Are you saying the rheumatoid arthritis? The rheumatoid arthritis was connected to a leaky gut?
Absolutely. And leaky gut means you have feces going through your intestines and floating in your bloodstream and settling in joints. What do you think that does?
Oh, that's not pleasant when you think about it.
No, nobody's going to give.
Leaky gut sounds so much like more pleasant than that. somehow.
Yes. No. Yeah, I know. Label it. We'll never know. I know. But see, the problem is we all know a lot. But if we're not, that's what I go. Remember we talked last time? They're doing that. We're doing this.
We're doing this. Yes.
And you have to kind of know what's going on, but you really have to know the fundamentals and how words affect you. How this is what we do. That's just why we work with people who want this. And it's also free, but it's never really free because you have to do it. And then the best thing, I know this one person. She was one of my students, and just a sweet person. I was like her mom and teacher both, and really, she went with me to India. She was fun. We could go do things and all that. I was always teaching because that's what I do. You know, I think I drive Michael crazy sometimes, but you know, it's like, but not us. We could do it. We could do it because we like it. This is how we are. Everybody's a little bit different. You have to, and we all have special needs a little bit. So you got to kind of get used to it. You know.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
But she went to all these things. She learned everything, and she's a good memory. She went from this one little job. I won't even tell you about, but she got to the very top of her game, basically, in every single way. But what I started to realize after all this time, plus she used all that, and she got to be famous in everything she wanted. But the thing that was interesting is she went the way of witchcraft, Hollywood, and the blood drinking. She wouldn't drink the blood, I don't think, but she was fascinated with magic. Fascinated with magic. No, magic doesn't happen like Harry Potter. That's not magic. That's a picture, an image. That's a programming. That's a mental program, like all it is in that way. No. Magic is what you have with your intuition. People want to know about your power. Get Ingo Swann. He has book 1 and 2. Even if you just get 1, but 1 and 2, The Secrets of Power. You have to know how you're depowered to empower yourself, you see. Wow. And most people have no idea how they're depowered, and then have to. And he said they had found up until he's passed now, but I think they bumped him. But they had found 22 or 23. 32 or 33 or 34 different extrasensory abilities that we all have. From the hair, the nose, the eyes, the ears, the skin, our sensing abilities that are always giving us readouts on everything that's going on, all these capabilities. Like the time I levitated, I was tripping off of a temple that in Chichen Itza, Mexico. I tripped, and it was my thinking, and I'm going straight head first. I said no, and I left. I pushed, I jumped into the air. Now I'm in a suspended animation. And all this time I'm going, click, just so I can move my whole body in that time. And then moving, got my right leg down on the next step.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my God. Because it's there when you needed to ask for it and call for it. And I went in that direction. I didn't say, oh God, I'm going to die. I went, no way. Boom. See, people. Yes. That's why people, they don't believe their affirmations, but they want them, but they don't live in harmony with them.
Right. You've got to feel them. You've got to feel them, or they're just somebody else's words.
That's right. That's right. The words aren't the power. The power isn't in the words. It's in us, what we give to the words. That's all. So if you are the power is within you. It's not the words. But the words are used to control you, and they tell you in John 1:1. And the thing that Yeshua, I have to finish that, was Jesus was disappointed in my studies, is that his disciples could never do what he did because they did not give up their religion. You can't. Because the religion controls some others, you see. Oh, yeah. And you get each one goes to control whatever it is because of our compassion, our love, and our caring, you see. Yes. But you see, also with this, what happens is people have to get transcend this fetishes that we have and really center in, this is your eternal existence, my sweet ones. You are a precious soul, and your mother loves you. Your father loves you. You love them, but you have to love them and serve them. There's people, oh no, they just love me. Oh, God loves me. What are you doing for God? Not even God. You can't use those words. But what are you doing for the love? And if we say love, we are love. And love we experience only when we give it. No, the rest of the people, they're bitter. They don't get enough because they can never get enough. Because they don't know they have enough. They are enough. When you ask, it appears right there. But most people don't trust themselves. Oh, well, what do I know? You know what? You see, the mother knows. Mom, what do we call it? And what is the upside down of mom? Wow. What do we call her? The wow. But it's whatever. Sweet, kind, loving. But you're suffering your own karma. Nobody can interfere with that. You see, and yet when you're close to giving that up, the eternal existence as reincarnation, because you are eternity and life. Yes, already.
Right.
You don't have to wait for your next body and your next life and everybody to get nice and the world get back to normal. Stop.
Yeah.
Get a grip.
Right.
You're gonna die. You're gonna leave this body, baby, and you don't know when, and you're stuck. And if you go, oh, if I could just have, that Tammy Faye Baker, poor little soul, she's about ready to leave with all these diseases. If I could just have another juicy hamburger. That's a dead cow, woman. The cow is
I know. They gave us all these other. Yeah, they gave us all these other names so we would depersonalize or de-sentient them, so we wouldn't feel it. We wouldn't feel what we were doing. You don't feel it. No, right?
You don't. You know, it is. Everything really is hidden in plain sight because it can't be anywhere else.
Right.
This is a pattern. It's a simulation, but it isn't the totality. It is what we. Yes. So.
It's powerful. Anyway, well, there's so much in what the energy is this is what I hope people can really tune into what you bring through with your enthusiasm about it, because you're expressing it, you're showing it to us. And then I also think about what you talked about earlier in your life when you were drinking alcohol and you were working with somebody who was an alcoholic, and you did see in that reflection, hey, wait a minute, I might need some help myself.
My God, yes. I remember when my 12-year-old daughter, her dad gave her beer or whatever. She was at a party and she comes home drunk, and I'm going, I first thought, what will the neighbors and the doctors think of me? And then I went in and I thought, what is the matter with you? Talking to myself. She's laying there in her bed. I said, something's going on here. I better see what I could do. If something's going on with me.
Yeah.
She helped me.
Yeah.
I remember one time I made her leave the house because she was smoking pot. And I said, you can't do that. You have to. So she went to, somebody's house. I said, you quit it. So finally she came back, and then one day I said, it's not fair to do that. I don't even know what it is. And all the way there, I was drinking, it was like a slow thing, and it wasn't like, because as soon as I didn't want it, God took it away. I'd forget it.
You also said you had to claim it. You had to say, help me let this go.
And be willing to let it go. And so what I did is, she was gone, and I found some in her room, this thing, and I smoked it, and then I looked in the mirror in the bathroom, and I could see my eyes saying, but anyway, and I could see it, and it got so disoriented. The only way I knew if I was up or down was the digital clock or the light the clock on this thing, and it was like, I knew I had to experience, because how could, and so I know. She was really cool. And then I changed. She brought music to me, like James Taylor and, Carly Simon, different wonderful things. And, I think what our parents have done for us. But it's not about everything in our lives. If you start looking, was in a movie.
Yeah.
It was in the TV. It was in the books. It was in the and it was there, and it was in the radio, and it was in that's what it's Shakespeare. Oh yeah. Oh, that was a tricky thing. Oh, fabulous. People aren't like that. They tell you how you're supposed to be. This is how we are. It's all programming. All.
Right.
It's all programming.
We have to get back to what's real, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We have
and
to get
you
back
know,
to what's real.
you know, but you've been doubting yourself, and you know, and you can't say things because you got to learn how to say it where you have to understand where the other people are coming from. When people like Elvis said, I got to have it. It'd be good to have somebody make a T-shirt. This would be a good one. If you tell people about what they don't know, they think you're crazy.
Yes,
they do, because they're told you're crazy. Really? One of my first jobs when I became a minister in counseling, the guy comes in and tells me that the neighbors planted antennas in his head. Now, do you think I'm going to tell him they didn't plant antennas in your head? How do I know? I have no idea. So I said, okay, how are you feeling? So we worked with it. I remember one time I was counseling, and the knock on the door, and the man comes in, and he's wearing a man's shirt, jacket, a string tie, a skirt, high heels, nylons, high heels, and carrying a purse. But I was kind of shocked because the people weren't doing that in those days. I went, "You're cute," and he said, "Thank you." And I'm going, oh my God, I'm thinking, how am I going to deal with this? So I said, well, I always turn it over to God, it would be the mom, the where. And I said, so he said, he just wanted makeup advice. That was great. I said, well, you got a lot of hair on your arms. And he told me he was an engineer and he wanted to be a woman because they got to go to lunch and play bridge. I said, great. What's my business? Isn't great. Oh.
Well, there's so many ways to meet people where they are, and maybe open up a little window that they see a little bit more, which is what you do when you also, like, you didn't judge him or critique him or whatever. You met him where he was. And then he could hear what you were saying. Then he could hear. And
he could have been playing with me because he was older. I saw him at some fancy social dinner where I was with Dr. Seuss and his wife. Yeah, he was a lovely man, and I think these other people went. But anyway, I saw him there. He was dressed like a man, wasn't saying anything. So I think he just was his deal. But there's a lot of times when you're doing stuff, people will come and they challenge you a little bit, like going to town. Who's the big gun in town? And I'll choose you off, man. But that's an old classic thing that intellectuals would do, is they debate.
Yeah,
that's fun. They like that, they debate, and you have certain rules and those kind of things. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, well, I know that I love playing where you're talking about is in the feelings, because that's where the world makes sense to me, is in my feelings. And a lot of people have been doing everything they can to not be in their feelings because
they're afraid to feel. They're afraid to feel. Yep. They're afraid to feel. Because you know what? Another thing is I kind of realize sometimes when little people had their innocence taken by some insane, cruel person that thought that was good for them in some way, then that child grows up to take the innocence of someone else, trying to get it back.
Yes.
You can't, but you can. How you can get it back, truly, is when you realize you have never been harmed or hurt. As the witness, as the pure soul, spirit soul that you are. No, the body, the mind, the feeling, but you have never, because you are pure of the pure, because you are of the purest.
Wow. Oh, that touched my soul, Terry, right there.
Yes.
I mean, how about every single one of us? We all have wounds that go way back in some way, and to know that our innocence and our God spark has never, ever been harmed or hurt. Ever.
And never can. Never. No. That doesn't give you permission to do this to another because of what it does, because of the experience. But you have to start somewhere. Start from the beginning. Start from what's natural. You trust, you see. And we all have this. Some have it stronger than others because of function, you see. Yes, it's like, and I love working like with Michael, because like I'd say to him, "How does this feel?" He said, "You shouldn't be doing that right now." I say, "Oh yeah, you're right." And it's like, it's so wonderful because, and yeah, and he we all have our little special needs, and that's where they're just a loving. And it's cuddling is all the time. It's like I look at what happened to the cat. She's a wild animal, man, but she's taught me she has boundaries. If you do that, if you don't do nice, I'll scratch your face off. Yeah, I know. But don't take it personally.
I know, that's how nature teaches as well. They give you a warning, and then
it's always yes. You can learn from everything if you're willing. If you really stop just thinking you know something from what you taught in these education indoctrination centers. So I can't believe people are still sending their children to these places.
I think
and why even bother if you can't even take care of them, huh? Yeah.
I think it's going to change. I think more people,
got to.
as more people wake up and realize that it is more programming than anything else. And
that's right.
My experience.
Who's telling you how it is, and you believe that? Oh my God.
Right. And the tests are designed that you tell them back to what they wanted to hear. They tell you something, and then if you don't score the test the way they think you should know it, that's it, right? And
that's programming, and you get rewarded. It's a carrot and a stick all the time. The whole thing. There should never even be in a room like that. That's not how you learn. You ask them, what do you see? How do you perceive it? What does that feel like? What do you notice over here? The Socratic method.
Asking questions, right? Yeah. Asking
yes. Questions. I tell the people, ask. Very few people. I mean, anybody I work with. Ask me questions. I've got so many things that I've done and experienced that I know how to do, but I'm not going to be blabbing it around and going unless you ask me a question.
Yes.
Right?
It's so good. Well, and I was just going to say, like, even when we were talking about the education and the programming and the asking of questions, which opens up a conversation, because that's what happens. But my kids, you've heard me tell you, Terry, for a period of time, they homeschooled. And so my oldest went to school, public school. Then they came home and were homeschooled for a while. My daughter never went to public school until high school. But it was interesting to see them in the years that they were free to be homeschoolers. Of course, they were different than the other kids because they didn't go to public school. So they didn't like being different. But I tell you,
and you had two moms.
Had two moms. They had two mothers.
That should be cool. I mean, in a way, really. I mean, wow.
I think they were pretty fortunate. But then I'll tell you, they went back into the public high schools, and the programming just met them right there as if they had never left. Programming is waiting, and they experienced that as well, and some of that, of course, influenced them, and then I still see them now. Sometimes I hear them saying, like, well, that's not right, and they question things perhaps maybe a little bit more than their peers, because they have had a different experience where they were allowed to seek and inquire and explore. Yeah,
because that's the way. Waldorf schools, I think, were more like that, but those are Jesuit owned, and the Jesuits, you know who they are. But anyway, so it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Researching. Don't take stuff. Don't take anything Marie says or I said. Don't say, well, I believe. No, what you're gonna know. You feel it one way or another, and that's why also. You can help with a pendulum just to help you, but your body is a pendulum.
Yes.
If you like something, you go forward. If you don't, you go back. It's real fast, happens instantly, but nobody knows. What I've noticed is when my eyes start to itch and scratch, all of a sudden, I'm just itching my eyes, scratching them. It's because it's saying what you're talking about and thinking, but there's something wrong with this. That's not true.
Oh, wow.
So start watching your own body language.
Yeah, you got to get a sense of what your yes is and what your no is to things. Yes. Yes, and the mother helps us because it's the felt sense. It's how we're being guided. Yes.
Yes, it's that's, and we have it, but then men were laughed at. You're not supposed to have that, ha ha. No, because trying to get them to be so left brain when that's not who they are. We need the intelligence, but we have to come from the heart. So it's like, yes. And so what we think
it's much more
is
profound.
If what we're living and moving, that we have our life in, that is, we call it ether. It's not, it's everywhere and all that is, and she's always here with everyone at every moment in some unbelievable, or the mother is, or however words you like that are but it's more than that. It's this feeling of it's all knowing right now, everything. And so you just start noticing, start back engineering, looking all the times when you had spiritual magic. It's the same as like yard sale magic. I remember this guy needed a bike, and I said, okay, I'll get it for you. So I just go there. There were about 4 bikes that people were selling that day for $20 or something, nice bicycles. There it is. Next week, nothing. And then it was fun talking to people. Oh my God. I love that. I love going to the laundromat. I like every once in a while. I want to know what people are up to. You got cool people everywhere.
True. And spirit souls want to know each other again, right?
Yeah. And you see somebody, and you might just connect. You never see each other again. We go, hey, thank you. And they go, thank you. You've connected. They're there. There's a human there. There's someone real. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Remember what's her name? Dolores Cannon, who had passed, and her NPCs, non-participating characters. There's a lot of that. Who are they? What are they? They have no compassion. If you have the slightest compassion, there's hope for you. And I have worked with some people. They do not have that. They do not really think about how can I contribute to others. And they can fake it, but they don't. They really don't have that. Yes. It's like the love of the cow. You don't have the compassion that mother cow. People don't get it. Oh, it's so wonderful. The milk, the cream. Now they demonize it. We demonize it. We demonize the mother. We demonize this. We demonize, and then they're taking the so-called sacred feminine and making it some kind of fashion show. No, I'm sorry. Yes. It's nourishing. It is the mothering. And anybody could be a mother. I remember my dad, these little pigeons fell out of the tree, Harry and Mouse. I remember we named them. So he was teaching them how to fly, where he put them up on the ladder and they jumped to him,
Oh, that's maybe where your compassion, your sweetness was there, in your dad. He had it. It's in there.
He did. He was really sweet. I loved him. He was so much fun. He was so goofy. He fixed the car so when you stepped on the brakes, the inside light went on. I thought they were great. Yeah, it was fun. You got to really love everybody that's been there. Every nasty person, every good person, everything. They all showed up somehow. Yes. And you're bouncing off of them. They're bouncing off of you and everything. So if you can bring a little joy out there, see, and enthusiasm, joyful. Michael says this all the time. We go into town to visit, in the village and stuff. He says, remember joyful enthusiasm, but you can't be too if you're too happy, it kind of bothers some people.
Yes. No, you do have to read who's around you, right? There.
Yeah, and then you'll get some players. It's always fun to find some players, And then you see them, I know, come on, let's make our connections out there.
That's right, and that's how you sprinkle the magic. Then they get touched by it, and they feel that like pixie dust, that, and they remember too. This is what we need to do because, complaining is contagious just as much as joyful enthusiasm.
Well, they forgot that what they're getting is exactly what they deserve by their cause and effect karma. So why are you complaining? God gave that to you because obviously you wanted it or you wouldn't have done it.
Right? You wouldn't embrace it kind of like you do.
No, you wouldn't have even taken the action. We have to think. We have to look before we talk. If we remember that, and because you're working at changing patterns and habits, because to getting more in alignment with who you really are instead of that old thing. And you're different than after a while of other people, very much so. Because you can see what they're up to. That means you have discernment. You're not judging. They're where they need to be because that's where they are. So that they and God are working it, the divine. And so, fine. But you love them I love you, but I don't have to hang around you or be around you or take up what you're doing. I want the best for you. Yes. You see, I'm working for you, but I want the best for myself as well, and I choose this consciousness.
Right, and that is going on with a lot of people right now. People are having to choose what feels good and right in their souls, even if people around them haven't received the cues yet to
That's right.
turn back to the mother or turn back to God, whatever they call that.
Yes.
They're not hearing that call yet.
All that is. See, some people, because that is impersonal to say all that is. It's we're all feeling. See, God's source is a person. The people don't get this. This is why most everybody's an atheist, because they think God is a thought, God's a word, God's a concept, God's a mathematical project, God's a torsion field, God's a all this kind of stuff. And they're constantly just looking more and more into matter. Let me get a microscope and a telescope and but this, you've got to get an inner scope because it's all here. You see, it's all here. And so it's always trying to get you the last thing, the outer space. No, it's the inner, and because everything's directed for you to not know who you are and to destroy the nurturing and the mother. When I see mothers with babies and children, I always say, you've got the greatest job in the world, my dear.
Yes.
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 Yes. Amazing people. Come on.
Yes.
And I've got my little mother psycho. She didn't know much. Yeah, she was in the incubator born a couple of months, and different things. I remember, I guess she got raped, I guess, one time coming home from work. Never told us. Nothing, But it was, she had food on the table. She made sure we had a roof over the head. And I know I was a challenge. I didn't know I was. Now I realize she didn't know what to do with me. I wasn't bad. She did you stuff, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
I'm so grateful you are and were who you were, Terry, because without that fire and without that, that feistiness and the curiosity you had, you wouldn't have brought forth so much that you already have. And I can't wait to hear more about the book you're writing, because is the book you're writing about the mother? I know you're writing several books.
Yes, but it's coming. Yeah, because you can't teach it in a sense. Michael, we both like the mystic path, like that. But you can't teach it. You experience it. That's one of the songs I always loved was Feelings Cuando Mente Dime. That's cool. If I would change the words though. Don't sing all your miserable song like Born to Lose, Alimala. No. Or you took a fine time to leave me, Lucille. Okay. You gotta have fun. You gotta play also. It's a very serious game, but to play the joy, the love, the lightness, the sweetness.
It is, because when you allow that and the lighthearted energy of it, when you allow
it for the mother, do spiritual songs.
Well, and I think that's what you're also modeling for us too, that you can play and you can be in all these beautiful, sweet frequencies, and you can simultaneously be discerning, right?
Yes, you have to.
You have to be, you learn how to be both. And maybe some people, when they start on the path, I was very naive. I was very trusting. And I had to meet a lot of people who taught me that I shouldn't trust everybody. Right? They were my teachers.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I know. And there was knowledge there also that taught us, but what we usually, our education system didn't allow that into it.
Yes.
And that's what if you say when Yeshua returned from his what would they the Essenes, the men,
Yes.
the boys usually went on vision quests or mystery schools to study
Yes.
the various knowledge that they were attracted to. See?
Yes.
And when came back to study and said the people were all suffering because they say, well, we're your God and you're going to have a savior. And he was trying to say, you're sick because of what you're eating and how you live and what you do. Stop eating animals. What he did with this, and I heard a woman who did this, but what he did, this person had a tapeworm, and he put, after he had fasted a couple of days, and this is in Shmuel's Asher's book on the Essenes. It's excellent, people. If you want to know, you want to know what's happening. It's excellent. And he put this bowl of warm milk or cream in front of the person's mouth, and he had been fasting, the tapeworm came out his mouth and got the milk.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
Can't even imagine. I cannot. I cannot.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep,
well, that doesn't motivate us to clean up. Clean out.
Oh yes, it's called parasites. Parasites
Yes.
have to have a host. So these are our so-called world leaders because they have to have a host. They cannot survive without it. You see, what happens is, and it's in the mind. So now you got to do your work to figure out what do you do now. Okay. But that's another time.
That is the next time. But what we're leading up to, Terry, is talking about what you were talking about earlier, when we let go of things and you're releasing old habits and patterns.
Yeah.
But you do have to build a foundation. You have to build a foundation of where you're going. And I think, maybe it's time for us to share in the next couple conversations more of those foundational principles, which this spiritual magic
what you can do to prosper during these times, and most of it, start just doing as much as you can. Prosperity doesn't mean these stupid things they show you of people's houses for $100 million. What a lonely thing that is. Yeah. When you love people, you want to be close. It's not about that. That's a public building. Who cares? And then it's gone. See, if you live your life and all you do here is do stuff that's temporary, where is it when you're gone? It's gone. And somebody either stole it, you died with it, and then their people took it. Stop. You have to work on your soul. You are eternal. You are a master of the formless.
Yes.
So that's why when you get it within, you perceive it everywhere. Doesn't mean you're living in a mansion. Doesn't mean you've got a brand new car. It doesn't mean it means that you're an exalted being.
Yes.
Wherever you are, God's there.
Yes. Someone said that recently. A friend of mine, I think in a podcast that I still need to edit, her name is Amira, and I think she talked about empowering and us to be in an exalted state.
But don't take it as a false ego glorification of yourself. You're not the doer. You aren't the creator. It works through you, as you. It's who she is, what we are.
Yes. I know. There's a lot of letting go for people to get to that state, right? Because we've been so trained that we have to be it.
Yeah,
we have to be the doer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the program.
Oh, look what I did. No, it's just like in a group. Like anything we've ever discussed or whatever, that's yours and mine.
Yes.
I don't say, I thought of that. That's mine. What do you mean? It came up in the conversation. It came up because of the relationship.
Yes.
Because we're correlating and collaborating.
Yes.
Then it comes, you see. So it's like, yes. But a lot of people can't handle that.
That's when the magic happens. That's when the magic happens, when we get into that beautiful space.
That's right.
And that's where the sweetness is.
That's right.
Yeah. I love it.
So
I love it.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Terry, for talking with me and for sharing this. There's so much in this podcast today. There's so much. You bring through so much of like the beautiful, a lot of people, I'm sure, your contemporaries, people you've met over the years, Terry, there's so many people who have maybe read a few of the books you've read and places you've journeyed.
I've written.
Go into it and experience it, to know it and to live it. Not everybody does that.
That's right. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that for some reason, I just did it. See, and I started learning metaphysics and different things, and I used that. But then I got to the top of what that could offer, and I realized it didn't have the feelings. You see. It didn't have whatever that was promised. You had stuff, and you could parade around and look good and this and that and go here and do blah blah. But there's big stuff was missing, and I said, and then I started to remember when was I really happy until with my shoes off, walking on the grass and the warm soil puffing up through my toes. And go and live by the creek and leaning down and drinking fresh, clean water from the glaciers. It's like, wow, lay on my back and watch it. And then all the sweetness, eh? All the good times, yes.
There it is.
I got yes. The sweetness.
That's a sweet spot. And
I got that with my teacher, my guru, Maharaji. And his Haridas Shastri, that I was able to, I could massage his little feet. You always had to have a man there, but he was old, and he let me clean out his ears with a Q-tip, and I kind of hurt him once. Like, oh my God. But it was like, he and I were partners in taking care of these Brahma bulls and things like this, and I got to be with the teacher.
Yeah, being with the teacher in full presence, in the full presence of that. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That is,
I being with you, Marie, as a teacher. You're wonderful. I love your intelligence. I love how you work with things. I love how open you are, how you question. I love you. Yes, it's everything about you. You just thank you, because I'm grateful so much for you.
Me too. Well, me too. And I hope the people listening to this right away and the people who find this sometime later this is like a timeless energy. It's always there. You can tap into the sweetness that we're talking, this connection. You can feel us connecting with you. Even though you might find this 5 years from now.
That's right. You're somewhere way over. We are connected, loved ones, and how we're unified isn't like we're mush. We're individuals and collective at the same time, but that's beyond mental thinking of this way or that way. It's always both and above and beyond.
Yes. It's so good. And I was going to just say, as we close this out, Terry, your topic, this is something that you seeded for this conversation today, was the art of natural spiritual magic. And I think we brought a lot of that to life for people today, and we invite people to just carry on. And if you've listened to this all the way to the end, carry that energy inside you, and you tap into the sweetness. You connect with the mother and the mothering inside you.
Yes. And everywhere present. It's all pervasive. It's ubiquitous.
Yes.
That's a cool word. Ubiquitous. Everywhere. As everything. Of everything. Well, this is all there is.
I love it. I have to tell you, the contractor who did all the work on my house, he was the first person I ever heard say that word, ubiquitous. And I was in my early 30s when I heard him talking that way. And I had to ask him, what is that? He kept saying, I was like, what does that word mean? And I've never been able to figure out how to use it in a sentence until you used it today about the mother. Now I get what ubiquitous means.
Yes.
It's everywhere. It's the
complete absorption. Complete absorption. That's all there is. Of anything and everything. It's all present always. It doesn't leave. No, you may leave in your mind. You go, but no, right here. Be here now.
Mm. Mm. So good, yeah. Terry. It's so good. Well, I love you and cherish you, and I love all of our listeners. Yes. Yes, and we'll be back again soon in another month for more conversations about these foundational principles that you can access by your feelings.
Yes. Right now. Feel good.
Right now. Yes.
You know, and fake it till you make it if you think you're lying, because you're actually telling the truth about who you really are.
Yes.
Period. Yes.
That's right.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye, Terry. Bye everyone.
Okay.